Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're totally debunking the myth that you need to practically live in the gym to change your body composition. We're going to dive deep into the science of your body's hidden metabolic multipliers. If you've ever felt like your intense workouts just aren't translating into the results you actually want, trust me, you are not alone. The real secret to transforming your health isn't necessarily grinding out an extra hour on the treadmill. Instead, we're going to look at the overlooked, everyday mechanisms that dictate exactly how your body uses energy all day and all night. So here's a quick look at our roadmap for today. We'll be decoding your daily metabolism, uncovering the true power of NEAT, looking into compound movements for fat loss, exploring thermogenesis and cold exposure, and finally wrapping up with the absolute crucial role of sleep. All right, let's jump straight into part one, decoding your daily metabolism way beyond that 45-minute gym session. We really have to start by establishing a baseline for how your body actually uses energy every single day. Okay, get this. A massive 60 to 70% of your daily calorie burn comes from just existing. Literally just existing. That giant chunk is your basal metabolic rate, or BMR. It's the baseline energy your body needs simply to breathe, pump blood, and keep the lights on, so to speak. Another 10% goes toward diet-induced thermogenesis, which is the actual energy your body requires to digest and process the food you eat. That leaves physical activity as just one remaining piece of the pie. And formal exercise, that's only a tiny sliver of that piece. So what does this all mean? Well, to truly master weight management, you've got to understand this energy balance equation. It's really not just a simple calculation of calories in versus exercise out. Your metabolism is a 24-hour clock shaped by completely overlooked physiological mechanisms. Once you realize that the vast majority of your energy expenditure happens totally outside of structured workouts, you can start strategically hacking those hours. Moving on to part two, the true power of NEAT, which stands for non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Let's see how this plays into our everyday movements. You've probably heard Dr. James Levine from the Mayo Clinic famously say that sitting is the new smoking, right? Well, he completely hit the nail on the head. Just look at the calorie difference here. Sitting burns about 65 to 85 calories an hour, while just standing bumps that up to 70 to 95 calories an hour. Now, sure, it might not seem like a massive jump in a single hour, but swapping sitting for standing actively fires up your metabolism. Over the course of a day, a week, or a whole year, those tiny caloric differences compound in a huge way, actively protecting your metabolic health. To put that into perspective, adjusting your lifestyle and your occupation can create a massive variance. We're talking up to 2,000 extra calories burned per day between different people, and that's without stepping a single foot on a treadmill. Two people of the exact same size can have wildly different energy requirements purely based on how much incidental movement they do. Obviously, someone working in construction or chasing toddlers around all day naturally accumulates a massive amount of NET compared to someone sitting at a desk. But hey, don't worry, you don't have to quit your desk job to become a construction worker. You can easily hack this by finding hidden NEAT activities. Stand up and pace around when you take a phone call, do the dishes by hand, or honestly, just let yourself fidget and laugh more. It's biologically regulated movement that keeps your metabolic engine humming along. All right, let's dive into part three, compound movements for fat loss. These are your multi-muscle metabolic multipliers for when you do decide to hit the gym. If you want to change your body composition efficiently, you've got to rethink your exercise selection. Choosing heavy, multi-muscle compound movements like squats, deadlifts, and pull-ups over isolated stuff like bicep curls is like building a slow-burning furnace. Actually, scratch that. It's more like upgrading your body's entire engine. Because these movements recruit a vast network of joints and huge muscle groups working together, they require significantly more energy. This not only burns more calories in the moment, but it keeps your metabolism absolutely firing long after you leave the gym. That classic afterburn effect. And we have the hardcore science to back this up. Clinical data from a study out of Indiana University proves that just 6 weeks of functional resistance training significantly increases your resting metabolic rate. That means by adding these functional strength movements into your routine, you are permanently upgrading that massive BMR chunk of your daily calorie burn. Your body effectively just burns more calories 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, simply to sustain that newly activated muscle mass. Okay, part four, thermogenesis and cold exposure. This is an incredibly overlooked and, frankly, completely fascinating metabolic multiplier. Check this out. Simply dropping your ambient temperature can trigger massive physiological changes. A meta-analysis of clinical trials showed that just dropping your thermostat down to a cool 16 to 19 degrees Celsius, so that's roughly 60 to 66 degrees Fahrenheit, burns an extra 188 calories a day. No way, right? That is the exact equivalent of going for a 20-minute jog, but it's generated entirely by your body just working a tiny bit harder to maintain its core temperature. So why does this happen? It's all thanks to something called brown adipose tissue, or BAT for short. Unlike regular white fat, which basically just stores your excess calories for later, brown fat is packed with mitochondria, and it actually burns calories to generate heat. By leaning into mild cold exposure, you're naturally transforming your body into a heat-generating, fat-burning machine. You are upgrading your metabolic rate without any extra conscious effort whatsoever.
Finally, part 5. The crucial role of sleep and balancing those hormones at night. This is arguably the foundation of the whole shebang.
You can do absolutely everything else perfectly, but if you ignore this, you're fighting a losing battle. When you restrict your sleep, your hormones enter this massive tug of war. Your levels of leptin, which is the hormone that signals to your brain that you're full and satisfied, they just completely plummet. At the exact same time, your levels of ghrelin, the hormone that violently triggers hunger and appetite, skyrocket. Your biology is literally screaming at you to eat more just to compensate for being so tired. So the crucial takeaway is that failing to get 7 to 9 hours of sleep severely undermines all your hard work in the kitchen and the gym. Clinical trials show that sleep deprivation causes people to unconsciously eat an extra 200 to 500 calories a day, and it heavily favors late-night super carb-dense snacks. But it gets worse. If you're actively trying to lose weight in a calorie deficit, a lack of sleep shifts your body to oxidize less fat. One study found that sleep curtailment decreased the proportion of weight lost as fat by a staggering 55%, meaning your body actively chose to burn precious lean muscle instead of fat. So let's tie this all together. By strategically integrating these clinical findings into your daily lifestyle, you're empowering your body's hidden metabolism without sacrificing your schedule. It's all about building a sustainable system. First up, prioritize that 7.5 hours of restorative sleep to keep your hormones in check. Second, ramp up your hidden NEAT by standing and fidgeting more throughout the day. Third, when you do train, focus on those heavy, multi-muscle compound movements. And finally, don't be afraid to lower your thermostat a bit to let your brown fat do some of the heavy lifting. Now that you know the true science of metabolic health goes way, way beyond a daily 45-minute workout, you've got the tools to make your physiology work for you, not against you. So I want to leave you with this final thought. How will you optimize the other 23 hours of your day?